why LGBTQ plus and DEIB are important to organizations.
Depending on where you go, you can hear, is LGBTQIA plus or really any DEIB, is that important in the workplace? And I mean, I think the answer is resounding yes, in every capacity. And the reason that I think that is because what I believe, and I think a lot of leaders believe that are involved with this, is that everyone deserves to have a decent experience at work. And if you believe that fundamentally, and then you look at kind of the makeup of workplaces, you realize that it's not always true. It's a super low bar. I mean, it just is. So, but if you believe that everyone has the chance to have a decent experience, you have to look at equality, and you have to, I think, dig even deeper, and you have to look at equity. And there's this great image. It's people standing behind a fence. And so if equality would be that everybody gets the same number of boxes to stand on to look over the fence. In some cases, you're going to have someone who's way above the fence because they started at a place of privilege. They have a lot of boxes. They can see way over the fence. Someone may have just enough to see over the fence, and then someone who has the same number of boxes, they can't see over the fence at all. And so getting into things like equity and, even to reality and liberation, where people need a different number of boxes so everyone can see over the fence. This liberation, of course, would be best case scenario. There's no fence. But as long as there is one, we have a responsibility to give people that experience. You can see over that fence, and it just makes everything about the workplace better. If you're somebody who, wants to look at the statistics, there's so many out there on, how much more productive it makes the environment, the diversity of thought that comes in perspective, and the fact that, frankly, it helps you generate more revenue. Everyone deserves that decent experience, and that's why DEIB is so important.
We talked a little bit about in one of the previous segments here about the fact that you really want to be able to feel that the organization you're working in is fair. And that's something which requires a lot of work, particularly with groups who are underrepresented, and you're coming in from a situation where you don't always understand what that group particularly needs. So I think that kind of brings me to, I hear the term being an ally, but what does being an ally mean? What does that mean?
It can mean different things to different people, but it's being able to show up for people, whether or not that they're in the room. To me, that's the most important thing about being an ally, is being able to speak for them, speak on their behalf. And, it's something that it can be the smallest interaction that makes the biggest impact, but really being someone who have taken the time to understand what the real issues are. I can tell you, it's massively humbling because of all the things that I didn't know. You think you have an idea of what the community is going through, and then you're there and you just don't. I just didn't. So being able to really take the time to understand it, take the time to listen, and then be there when they can't be there themselves, or there are reasons why they can't say what needs to be said. Regardless of how long you've been in the workforce, regardless of what your position is, what company you're working for, we're going to have to suspend that and work really hard at saying change is going to come, whether we like it or not. And so do we want to be a part of that change, or do we want to push back against it? Because if you're in the camp of pushing back against it, you're going to lose. Yeah. Because eventually, people are going to age out of the workforce. But the change is happening now. It's coming. And so part of being an ally is understanding that you're going to be in situations where you don't know the right thing to do. You don't know the answer. And so it's okay to say, I'm really sorry that happened to you. Let me know how I can help. And if there's nothing to say, then go volunteer somewhere. And at an organization that focuses on these communities, donate to a charity and an organization that's doing the right thing, because you're still doing something productive. So there's always something that you can do. I think the one thing I hear the most from people who maybe want to be allies is, I don't know what to do. First of all, you can just ask, but there's always something you can do regardless of what your comfort level is.